Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Disco Elysium, shall we? Picking up where we left off, and I'm going to quickly see if Everett has any more dialogue for us. Anything else we can find. And if not, then I'll try to teleport down to Joyce, talk to her, and then proceed into the cave with Ruby. That might very well be it. I don't know. Here, hit this. All right.
Mr. Dubois, the word in Martinez is a certain police officer is once again happily reunited with his service weapon. Congratulations, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
I prefer my police officers old-fashioned like that, with a gun. You can do so many things with a gun that you can't do without one. Now, what can I help you with?
Look at this.
My. She's quite the looker, Harry. You can't imagine how pleased I am the two of you are reunited. Tell me, was it difficult to convince the pigs to give it up?
She tried to kill me.
I told you she was a piece of work, Harry, but I knew you could handle it. I know my special policeman. Anyway, I'm glad you're all right and armed again.
Regarding Joyce.
Great. You want to bounce something off your old friend, Mr.
I told
Clare?
Joyce I met
It's
you.
Perfectly okay. Even if you've told her everything we've talked about, it's absolutely fine.
You cannot but notice the prospect of you telling Joyce about your conversations is actually pleasing, Everard.
Sounds like you want me to tell her.
No, Harry. I'm perfectly neutral and 100% for transparency. I know people say a lot of bad things about the Debardairs Union, but we are actually squeaky clean.
Yes, he really doesn't seem to mind.
The lieutenant seems incredulous.
Sure, he thinks. It's about transparency.
Okay, let's talk about something else.
Harry. What's on your
The murder.
Most certainly, Harry. Nothing brightens my day like brainstorming these things with you.
Let's
By
change the
all means,
subject.
Harry, what's on your mind?
What's in the
My
container?
dear Harry, there are
Never mind.
I rarely do, Harry. I have people.
Alright, we'll leave. So, I guess he doesn't mind, or he even wants me to tell him. So, given that, I'm going to tell Joyce. Won't let me teleport from inside here, that's fine. Or from over here, that's okay too. We'll get there. Yeah, it doesn't seem to like you to teleport if you're, like, not on the main map. I don't even know if this is what you need to do to progress this conversation, to get her to tell you stuff.
Good. What can I... Oh.
Man, this whole thing's a takeover. It's not a strike. You aren't being let in because there's nothing to negotiate. The Union is taking the terminal.
If they're taking it...
She looks toward the colorful mountain of crates like toy blocks rising above Martinez.
Green livery, changing into red, blot by blot. Like a cancer of the blood, metastasizing.
Then we're talking about a war. Everett needs to let me into the harbor at once. We need to talk about this.
He's ready for a war. They all are.
They most certainly are not. Crenell has 1,000 men on their payroll. The next batch will be a platoon of 20 men and a gunship.
I've seen the Union's forces. They are better organized than these mercenaries. They also have the support of the people of Revachol West. It will take more than Crenell to wipe them out. Wild Pines will need to send more and better equipped men. Make no mistake, ma'am. I am sure you have the money. The question is, how many years and how many lives are you willing to sacrifice?
What do you suggest I do?
Does it matter? Or has her mind been made up for quite a while now?
Look at your wrist. It's apocalypse o'clock. Time to commence the glowing unreal. I wish there was a disco option. First, will this affect your decision-making process?
Everything affects the decision-making process, Detective.
Officer?
The look on the lieutenant's face conveys uncertainty. He doesn't even sound angry.
For once, I don't seem to know what the right thing to do is.
The workers should have their harbor. Cut off the snake's head. It's all a bluff. Bring in everything you have and wipe them from the face of the earth. I wish there was a disco option. Let them have the harbor.
Do you think it's within my authority to give it to them? Do you think I can control the board and the shell-shocked mercenaries they've sent?
So what you gonna do?
What will I do?
She slowly looking around.
Her arms fall to her sides. Her spine relaxes.
Did I ever tell you how they discovered this Isola? During our reality lowdown?
You said you would one day.
It may be the only break we've ever caught as a species. The last one for 400 years.
Why?
The nations who colonized this Isola called theirs Muindi, the world. It was all they knew. All they thought would be. That there would be something more was a gamble, akin to another world, or life after death. The Pale was thought to be impregnable, perpetual. Irene la Navigateur, the Queen of Suren, sent 8 expeditions, one after the other, into the mass at the edge of the world. 5 of the crews did not return. 2 did, but had lost their minds.
Each of those expeditions would have been led by an admiral. Sounds like a purge. Like she was purging her political rivals.
Sounds cruel.
There was no precedent for such an undertaking. People thought she was punishing the admirals, or had gone mad, or both. Until after years of trial and error, and the development of a strict psychological regime imitating the creation process of poetry.
Called Volta Doma, or Return from the Sea.
The 8th expedition returned sane and intact. They told of a new continent of matter. They told the Queen and her counselor, Dolores Day, that the Pale had begun to condense, day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, slowly raining down until it formed a vast ocean.
The air is cold and scented with petrichor.
This ocean?
The phenomenon has never again been encountered. For a time, the crew thought they were experiencing a hallucination. The mass hand proclaimed, "Lancielinde, Lancielinde," the signal to wake up. But they could not. They were sane and conscious, as islands began to appear on the horizon. There are 78,000 uninhabited islands in the Insulindian archipelago, officer. The freckled face of God.
You've thought it 1,000,000 times.
After life, death after death, life again, and the world the pale, after the pale, the world again.
A total shift in human comprehension of reality. On the second day, a great skua was shot down above the flagship Lysergique. The bird was preserved and brought back, along with pollen. 4 years later, the Queen's Counsellor was proclaimed Her Innocence Dolores Day, the elected world spirit. The age of humanism, internationalism, and parliamentary rule followed. We were high.
Leaving us here.
On Caillou. The Pebble, the largest of the fertile, uninhabited islands of the northeast Insulindian archipelago. 4 centuries and 2 revolutions later.
The great skua was the first bird they saw?
The first living, autonomous organism. Proof of reality. It's the symbol of Insulinde, detective. The coat of arms of the suzerain and the wings on the crest of the commune.
I seem to have it in for it, or it for me, I broke one.
In your defense, it is a nasty creature who plucks food from the throats of lesser birds. Yet much like Revachol, it is also magnificent and rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls.
And this was the last break we got?
The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more Isolae. Or they discovered us. All in the rush of the great inter-Islary reconnection. But these others weren't uninhabited. We had to kill people there. Wipe out indigenous populations. Gunboat economies. Or they came to do the same for us. Or had done to each other. But here...
She spreads her arms.
There was no one but the skua, the Liliat Sea, and the Blood Beach, and the River Esperance. It was the new world. The Mondials used it to amass the greatest concentration of wealth mankind has ever seen. Revachol, the suzerain.
What happened?
Revolution, poverty, and the mercurial rise of capitalism.
It's raining.
It is. Soon it will be spring and everything will blossom.
The gangs will run wild, jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City. Spring is tough in Revachol.
What will you do?
I will take your advice, Lieutenant Gefreiter. I will surrender Terminal B to the Union.
I thought it was not within your means.
She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second.
We will see.
Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time there will be 2 strikes, then 4, then 100.
What happens will happen.
She takes the end in her rain-slick hand and starts untying the knot.
The age of capital has only begun. I will talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinez. If you handle the situation on the ground.
You're going? Now?
Yes, Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger. And I've exhausted all my options from here.
There are no employers. She's a member of the board. Probably a partner.
You are the Wild Pines. There are no employers.
You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors.
She turns to you, rope in hand. What? Of course I have superiors.
That's right, Detective. And next time, you should confer with them before you go setting events in motion.
Despite his words, he's not really sure whether to be annoyed with you or not.
I mean, I didn't know.
Events are already in motion. Whether your actions accelerated or momentarily retarded their progress, even the lieutenant cannot really say.
Even after all this time, I still don't really understand who you are or what your angle is.
I have not deceived you. I told you exactly who I was. Rejoice Layton.
Understood.
Keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain. One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
I know, because I too am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich.
I mean, Rejoice Layton? Joyce Messier? What name? Who is she? How do you keep it together?
The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this Isola, the Volta Domar. It's used by inter-Islary travelers and other troubled souls, even to this day.
You could use a little of it yourself.
Isn't everybody a little insane?
No, Detective. No one's as insane as you.
That might be true.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sane.
What do you have?
I'm overexposed, baby. My travels take me through the Pale dozens of times a year. I've got the longing. And I've got it bad.
She points to her heart.
She would die to return to it. The Pale, the past, anything one can return to.
Good boy. Goodbye, Rejoice Layton.
Watch out for yourselves. They
Wow.
will strike soon.
Well, secret task complete. Find a solution to the strike deadlock.
The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering. With worry in his eyes, he does not know if it was the right thing to do, but he doesn't say anything. You wonder what Everard has to say about this. Slowly, the sails turn grey-blue as more oxygen gets between you.
So there's a few things I want to do before I go to Ruby. I mean, obviously they want us to talk to Everett, or they suggested it. I'm going to open up some new thoughts as well. So, you see how there's like electricity going here? I still don't understand really what that means. Some kind of superstar is less logic and the miracle. Oof, that's a long time. I'll try it. See, now it has like swung my thoughts over this way. And I don't know if that means anything or not. But I have a lot of points I can put in things if I need to redo checks. Alright. So, if I look at my journal, union and cryptozoology business might end when you do. Okay, so cryptozoology is still going. I can't ask her about this. It says when Kim's not around, right? Check the island and check the boardwalk. So, I can't believe I haven't, like, adequately checked the boardwalk. But maybe they don't mean... You know what? I don't think they mean this boardwalk. I think they might mean over here. I think I had the wrong boardwalk in mind. Because I've been all over that area. So we could look for tall buildings. I could check in this one.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest.
Look inside.
A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out
Kuno.
That's Kuno. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and grey. You know this to be the start. Around the large wooden building, you see chunks of sea ice.
Poor little viewer.
The metal feels...
Leave. Alright. So, this didn't let me really see the island.
This coin-operated viewer is...
There was a revitalization. They got as far as the street lamps and that statue on the intersection before something went
Say
south.
The
nothing.
lieutenant adjusts his collar. Your money disappears. The curtains on the lenses, it looks as its leaves ripped from it by the winter wind.
There are ruins.
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
Hang in there.
The little brave birch
Could the
tree.
shot...
Tell?
It's not. The details are blurry. There's water...
Alright, so that's me checking that out completely. So, I don't know if you would consider... maybe this really isn't a boardwalk. It's not boards at all, is it? Up there, though. Maybe. Let me look at that again. Could you see from where Cindy is? Nah, this isn't what we're talking about.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Alright, see you. Yeah, your mural's sweet. I can't get a better look at the island from here. So this kind of looks like a boardwalk, you know, when you see it like this, but it isn't counted as it. I don't know if... I'll just walk all the way through. Look at everything. Does it keep track of like what level you are overall? I know there's the stuff where it's like it does say here your stats. All right.
You hear someone walking around inside. A poor communard, from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger.
Do you have a warrant?
Let's go.
It's generally easier to...
Alright. Let's go indeed. Fine. It's boring. I still never figured out how to do anything with that.
So, the ship has sailed. Did you see it? I know you did. Tell me, what did it look like as it grew smaller and smaller when that mainsail dropped behind the horizon?
There's a mean little light in its eyes.
Did it look like a germ? Did it look like a piece of bacteria?
Oh my god, you've been played.
You wanted me to deliver that message?
That this is a takeover? That I want a war? God, I hope you also told her about the drug trade. They absolutely hate getting their hands dirty with that. You can kill 1 million people, but if you do something the police doesn't like, well, then you're out of the yacht club. Goodbye, you inhuman fuck.
Now I know why you've been so forthcoming.
No, Harry. What we have is real. We're working men. This here is real.
So this was your plan all along, for me to relay this information?
Harry. can't see into the future. We are all playing by ear on this planet. I had no idea she'd react so strongly.
So she's probably going to do that no matter what I do, but you did want me to relay information.
I did. I knew the negotiations would go better with police officers telling her horror stories from inside the harbour. It's scarier this way. Turns out it was a magnificent strategy. I never thought it'd so fundamentally fuck her up.
How'd you know she left?
Harry, I bugged her cabin. I bugged her whole boat. I had cameras surveying her boat. Hell, I even wanted to bug that thermal cap, but my boys advised against it.
So you've been listening to our conversations?
Not me personally. I had guys recording and processing this information for me.
The Hardy Boys?
Hell no! They'd fuck it up. They can't do anything right. I mean my real boys. My special task force boys.
Where are these boys?
They sure as hell aren't hanging out in the open with beers in their hands for the cops to question. They're pros, Mr. Kitsuragi.
So I've got proceed for all these. That's wild how you got me to do all that stuff. Hilarious.
Harry, you made a conscious decision to relay that information to her. You could have kept it for yourself.
But she told me a beautiful story about the discovery of the Insulinde.
Of course she did. Rich people have the best stories. About all the interesting things they've done and seen. All the beautiful places they've been to. It's just sentimentalism. She can afford to be sentimental, and she can afford to lose as well.
But she said she's insane like me.
She's not insane. What did she tell you?
She told me she's over-radiated from Pale Transit.
No, she's not. She's a sentimental alcoholic. They all are. Never take a drop and you'll be 8 laps ahead of those upper-class winos. Just like old Mr. Clare here. Try it. You'll be a real super detective.
I've actually walked the path of sobriety for a while now.
I can see that, Harry. Alcohol has left its marks, but you're doing better than when I first saw you. Rich man is shitting himself. The working class sober.
So what's going to happen now?
What was always going to happen? We take the harbour and she fucks off to Ozon, uncorks a bottle of wine, calls her partners, and says they need to distance themselves from this nasty business before the big shit spinner splashes everyone. Only difference is the Union doesn't have to lose 2,000 men to machine gun fire.
I have a bad taste in my mouth. You better make sure this ends up saving lives.
That it will, Harry. That it will. As to the bad taste, please. You're not a sommelier. You're a cop. You knew something. Something big. And you wanted to see what happens when you tell someone. So you told her. Anyone who's ever been close to power will tell you. Inside information is the sweetest thing in the world. It's better than money. It's better than pussy. Money only makes you special for some salesmen. Pussy only makes you special for yourself. Information makes you special for all mankind. It's the ticket to history. Right on, Harry. What you did was participate in history. When history calls, you have to pick up. You had no choice. None of us ever do. A hard disco cop like you, I knew you weren't one to resist temptation.
You know what, detective? I am going to leave this out of my report, and I suggest you leave it out of yours too.
Just look at the three of us. The three careless boyaderos. Good times, good times.
This is sweet. So what the F now?
Now we let bygones be bygones because there's work to do. For me and for you. I suppose there was a reason you came here, so let's have it. What can I help my best friend and comrade with today?
That's it. I don't think there's anything else to do with this man. Alright, so I don't know if that finished well, but we at least you know, in terms of like, we didn't get a lot of experience or rewards, but we realized that Everett's masterminded you know, way better than we thought. More clever. He wrecked us. I'd love to figure out what's going on over over on the waterfront, like see if I can find the other shooting spots before I confront Ruby. It seems like the right thing to do. Actually, let's take the walk. Let's just see if there's anything that would look like a boardwalk where the shot could come from. Not really. Maybe not. A faint smell of smoldering melted insulation, nylon, and ozone. Oh, that's great. I don't know what all this is. And I don't see anything over here. But that's not where the shot could come from.
The trap is full of locusts.
Alright. There's no cryptozoology left for us. So this is the fisherman's village. Yeah, it's not that way, and it doesn't... That's not that way either. That is a dead end. Now that Joyce is gone. So, I mean, this is kind of like a boardwalk. I could search it. But the person would need to be high up. I don't know how to search the island to get it to come off the journal, but I don't know if that means anything. I mean, I've eliminated it just by using the binoculars. Like Harry was like, there's no way. I guess when I was up on the roof, but I didn't see anything there either. You can't go back up the ladder. I don't think you can get over here. I mean, we checked it, and he was like, no. Oh, yeah, you can get over there, because that's where you meet the Sunday friend, but that was... We only checked it for a possible hiding spot.
The trap is fit. Poor things.
For, Ruby, not for a sniper. Alright. Everyone, I think we're ready. I think it's time to actually do it and confront Ruby and see what happens. Joyce is gone. You know, we've pressed the leads, we've looked around. I'm ready to see what happens. And we'll get into that next time. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Take care.